Orion was said to have sworn an oath of fealty and undying love to Mystra. And as proof of this love, he unmasked himself and threw away his title. As he claims, his love brought about a change within him, and a promise ensued that his otherwise rakish nature would come to an abrupt halt. Though those who know him well enough attest loudly and openly in the taverns and theaters across Amaranth that he is in fact the same scoundrel that once sullied the stage. Welcome, travelers, to the Dragonleaf, the Teahouse where tales are told. If you enjoy the content, leave a like in the tip jar and subscribe to our weekly tales. Leave a comment in the suggestion box to tell us how well we did, or how well we did not. Thank you for listening, and without further ado, it's time to open up shop. Welcome, everybody. Hey, how are you all doing now?
Discount Kelly? Like,
who knows who this
Bill
is?
Clinton.
Discount Kelly. Discount Kelly.
Discount Kelly is very good.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Sorry, I don't know what you were going
That's
for.
okay. That's good.
We invented Discount Kelly, so it was worth it.
Yeah.
By far the best character. Last time, the Deviants prepared for their 2 weeks leading up to Vincent's performance, and the vehicle auction at which Matilda and Killian have a stake in the running. Jojo leveled as Ilnival hurled a javelin at her in challenge, and before, she and Matilda joined Jaeger and Talana in Eldas True Grove. Vincent returned to Ungad and pontificated with Theo, recruiting and practicing with Harai Zephyr, a well-known and prodigious actor. Matilda discovered Morrigan's cipher and dealt with her passive-aggressive message, and found out a bit more about the passages in her book, alongside the goat-eyed Talana. Killian discovered Lucine's workshop, and as we all begin our downtime and we move halfway therein, Killian, I ignore you for a moment as we go back a few seconds, and I tell Matilda that she owes me money. Matilda, you owe 16 gold and 8 silver for this downtime.
Oh, good God. I'm such an economic liability. Okay. 16 gold and how much silver?
That's 8.
Okay.
I will also remind everybody, just periodically, that you can roll a d20 to see whether or not you gain or lose additional gold during these downtime periods.
Vince will do that.
If you want to
It's already a
gamble.
how much I don't work. So, like, no, I'm good. I don't have passive income.
Yeah. Vincent, if you want to gamble, I like that. Go ahead and roll a d20.
Just a straight one?
Yes.
9?
9? Okay. Let me go ahead and put that in here. Oh, 5 to 10 is normal. You gain nothing, you lose nothing. You have the same amount as usual. And we return. Killian, what was it that you were doing during your downtime? You were about to roll for... Yeah. You're about to roll to determine how long it would take for you to come up with this breakthrough of your idea. And
Correct.
Basically the materials needed and what's at hand in 2 weeks, a very strict time frame.
Yeah. I assume that I can use Flash of Genius to give me a +3.
Love it.
Okay. So I had rolled because before the last, at the end of the last session, you had told me to roll. So that is my roll.
Ooh.
+3 would be 25.
A 25. So it takes you no more than probably a day and a half to find a long disused machine in the back that could be... She's like... Lucine leans in and is just like, oh, I used this before to just make the it's like a compression device. It's nothing really impressive if you were to think about it, but finding it, you're just like, oh my god, this is great in whatever fashion that we can actually manage to use this machine. Leaning in, you have now rounding up with the time it takes you to kind of like just boil down, you have 12 days that you can utilize towards building your machine.
Okay. Now, here's a question. As soon as I heard vehicle, I was like, oh yeah, like a boat or a flying car or whatever. But then I pulled a dirt-covered or like a sand-filled contraption out of my pocket, and it wasn't ruined by the sand. And I wanted to make it so that whatever progress we make with this device moves us forward on the progress with the device that Lucine has been contracted to build, which is the statue carving, automaton. So I'm thinking to myself, what if there was a vehicle that dug underground? Because I feel like that's an untapped market, because dwarves would just dig it themselves. And gnomes would be like, yeah, we could make that, but like, think of all the gems we might destroy in the process or whatever, right? At the very least, I don't see a lot of digging machines, like, just all over the place. But what if it was a personal digging machine? And so it would allow you to travel the countryside in relative safety, because, you know, with the rifts and everything like that, like, you know, a machine in the air, easy prey. A machine on the ground, you're rolling the dice. But if you're under the ground, that safe travels the entire way.
All right. At the beginning of this downtime, as you think about this idea, the compression machine probably actually leans in a little bit more, in that if you're going to be under such strict, incredible pressure, you're going to need some way to like equalize yourself. And even the machine that you have in your hand that just released that ridiculous amount of water previously almost lends itself to that as well. And as you are holding on to all of these ideas and they begin to flourish through your mind, after this like 2 days, Matilda, you have one more day spent before you kind of join in on this endeavor. I believe because it took you 3 days to discover the cipher. So I need you, Killian, to go ahead and make... Ooh, if the two of you are working on this together, there's only 1 day difference. Both of you make... Actually, here's what I'm going to say. Matilda, you show up. For the first time, you see this warehouse, and it's grand. It's impressive. It's completely unexpected when you're given the address and nothing else. You arrive kind of at this location, and you're just like, is this it? And then as you enter in, you just see automatons working. They're just assigned duties, one step to the next, and then back to the first. And in the back, you can see the Lucine and Killian kind of just working away. You are now here. What do you do?
If they're working, I don't want to disturb them, because I know what it's like to be disturbed when you're like focused on ideas. So Matilda just kind of like keeps her hands to herself for the most part and just kind of wanders around and looks at things until she thinks there might be a good moment to interrupt them.
Alrighty. Not sure how to include the two of you in this single role. So I'm going to say, how do you, Matilda, incorporate yourself into this kind of invention that has been happening here? And Killian, conversely, how do you kind of like allocate Matilda's aid in this instance?
Are you talking out loud about stuff at all?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think for this role in particular, it's not necessarily like in the scene. It's like the next few days. How do you help, right?
Yeah.
So I think the way the scene probably plays out is like you're there, you're being respectful of like not interrupting, and at some point, like something probably like just a minor explosion, or like a bunch of sand just starts just like spitting out of one of the parts, like aspects of the machine, and Killian just like gets really frustrated and is like partially in goblin, a little bit of gnomish, but like, and then other common, where she's just like struggling. She like can't understand why it's not working for this particular thing, and like, you know, like she's getting frustrated clearly, which like that's kind of a break in progress. So you could kind of jump in at that point.
Matilda would probably be like, if you tried this might help. And then you're probably like, oh shit, she's here.
Yeah, exactly.
But then you don't even like say hello, you just like hop right into trying what Matilda said. So basically, I picture like Matilda letting you do all your engineer stuff, but then like, if we're talking about it out loud, Matilda hops in with anything that she knows, or any calculations that she can help with. She can help with the math, or like the any of that stuff.
You have proficiency with alchemist supplies?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the only tools proficiency you have?
Yes.
Okay. How can I incorporate alchemy into this device.
I also like to think about like chemistry. So they're gonna be like
That's
digging
true, yeah,
underground, right?
Yeah.
So we have to figure out a way of like how we're going to like ensure that the machine is able to keep itself lubricated. So Matilda could probably figure out how to like do like a self-lubricating like thing, because it's going to be digging underground all the time. We want to make sure that it doesn't get jammed. We also need to make sure that people are able to breathe. So we probably need to come up with a chemical compound of like air that can be breathed in like underground. And also we probably need to figure out the mathematical calculations of how to deal with the pressure of the earth on the casing. So you do the building, but Matilda could do the like you could do the specs, but Matilda would do all that like math of like figuring like
The measurements.
like how much of this pressure, like how thick do we need the walls to be, like all this kind of like that kind of stuff.
So I have formulated some roles. Matilda, you can either roll investigation or a tools proficiency. So proficiency with alchemy supplies and pretty much any skill of your choice: con, strength, dex, int, wisdom, charisma, in order to try and figure out the like ventilation system. Or you can roll the investigation check, which would lead you to basically attempting to figure out how all of these things would come into play. And Killian, you can roll for this a Tinker's Tools check with, I think this would be Constitution, or Dexterity, basically to determine whether or not you can hold out to build this just sheer effort, or whether or not you can try and do it quickly. The outcome of these rolls will determine the DC, and whether or not you guys have succeeded just wholesale in the creation of something like this. Now here's the thing, it might seem like an impossible feat, truly. However, with the resources at your availability and the fact that the artificer can create a working automaton in 6 seconds, utilizing the magic at their disposal, this is not out of the realm of possible for what you guys are attempting to create. So, with that in mind,
So,
yes.
my question I'm having is like, so if I want to do the alchemical thing, I add my proficiency bonus plus one of my ability scores.
Yes.
And then, but then I'd roll that with a d20.
Yes, the alternative is investigation, to try and figure out how kind of these systems will work in play. The trade-offs would be that you can either create a potentially sound system, but at the risk of safety, or you can create a very safe system at the risk of efficiency. And Killian, basically the same comes with you. You can try and do this quickly, or you can try and really, really, really push to make this something that is like sturdy.
I'm all in for the push. I want the hard push. I want it. There's no point in doing something quickly and poorly. Like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it properly.
Yeah,
That doesn't
so
necessarily-
safety first.
Safety first would be ideal, because if the safety is done, the efficiency can always come afterwards in further iterations. But if you iterate once and it's like, yeah, this is great, it's very efficient, and then you run it and you die, that the efficiency is now suddenly 0, right? Like, you can't, there's no further output because you're dead and under like 300 feet of stone and dirt, and you can't breathe, right? So I think she would aim for safety and like durability, or like making sure it's good at the risk of her own fatigue. Like, if it ended up that the event came and Killian was just too exhausted to like actually show off her product, that's a very real possibility, but the product would be completed.
Yeah, that's funny.
Dexterity, in this instance, it would not necessarily be that. If you were to fight with Dex in this instance, you would be making sure that the time frame is what you are focusing on, and ensuring that within 2 weeks you have something. If you work with Con and you fail, there's a very real chance that you simply do not create something that is show worthy. But if you do, it will be that much more reasonably sturdy.
All right.
So we want to do the timeline one, right? I'm assuming 'cause we want to have something to show.
I think, as much as Killian sees this as like an excellent opportunity, for like, you know, for not only growing her status, but like also like showing that monstrous races can do these things and like show off their skills. As a result, she would not want to rush. Like, if it's not ready, then she will just have to hope that another opportunity comes along. But like, she wouldn't be unwilling to show off something that is not as good as she would like.
A counterpoint, Matilda's willing to offer, since we are collaborating, that if anything happens, it can always be said that it was Matilda's fault for why it malfunctioned, not yours.
Well,
And
I don't know if the auction will really care about that, though.
I know, but the thing is, like, what I'm saying is like, if anything bad was to happen, instead of someone being like, oh, it's a goblin, it'd be like, well, no, Matilda designed this, and it might not be true, but Matilda's willing to take the rap for that if it did.
I don't even think Killian would want that.
Killian appreciates
I know,
that,
yeah.
but declines your offer.
Yeah, I figured, but it's important for people to realize that she's not going to be like, oh yeah, fuck goblins. She's like, no, that was me. Don't worry, it wasn't her. It was I designed it. It was my fault.
This conversation is Matilda being like, don't worry, I'll take the fall. Killian be like, you really don't. Matilda's like, okay, and in her mind being like, I'm gonna take the fall.
Yeah.
So Killian.
The problem is Killian wants this to be something that gets her name out, and so like if it's like you go in, but if it fails, oh, Matilda did all the work, it's counterintuitive as well. It kind of puts doo-doo on her name.
It's all good. It's all gravy, my loves. Killian, Constitution check with proficiency, please. And Matilda, you are doing an alchemy proficiency check, I believe.
Yeah,
with I assume intelligence.
No, with charisma, because it's higher.
Charisma? Oh, beauty.
Yeah.
Right, Killian is going to spend an inspiration.
Ooh.
So
because
click that off of my character sheet.
Basically, what I have is I'm rolling a d20 plus 3 for my proficiency, plus 4 for my charisma, and then I wanted to ask if I could guide myself.
You have all the time in the world to guide yourself.
Okay, cool. Okay, Matilda.
Ooh, 2 11s.
Smart Bean. 24.
That's a 24. So here's what I'm gonna do here, guys.
I would like to say that I use Flash of Genius on both myself and Matilda. So Matilda's is a 27. And Killian's is a 14.
Matilda could guide Killian, right? Like, it's not just her own roll.
That's true. Yeah, you have 2 weeks, so you can both also gain guidance. So Killian, you may also roll a d4.
That's something I was wondering as well, because I find the guidance, like, are we allowed to request it from Matilda during rolls? Just if she's in the scene, let's say?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like to interfere sometimes, or I might forget. Forgetting's probably more likely, but I also be like, let me Matilda all over your scene. So.
No, I know, but it could be the difference between a success and a failure, which could be life and death. So I'm just curious.
Guidance.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is just very like, excuse me, if you don't move, I'm going to kill you. And then there's a character in the background being like, Forente! As you fucking shine gold, and then they're just like, all right, I believe you. And then they just walk away. Guidance. As you sit back, here's what I have done. I've taken both of your scores, I've added them, and I've divided them by 2. The average of your scores needed to pass 20 in order to succeed this. You guys received a 21.
Hey.
As you were leaning back and really taking into the situation here, with the materials at your disposal and with the aid of the gnomish tinkerer at your beck and call. Looking forward, the strange halfling woman in the background who every now and then offers you like, hey, you doing well? Just really gives you that pep in your step. And sitting back, you guys have created a small housing and a central kind of like digging chamber at the front that looks like a drill in fashion, but almost has like these claw-like grips that Lucine has given you, being like, oh, no, don't worry about it. Listen to me. There are beetles that dig like nothing, and they got the pincers right, and they go, no. So that's what you really want to get in there. That was basically like kind of her attempt to aid you, as this just scooping device at the front that then deposits the dirt through and around back. This alchemical system that pulls around and distributes both fluid to the exterior and like oil to the exterior via alchemical means, and is attempting to create this kind of this system for delivering oxygen. It's not perfect, but what you do have is the beginning of a prototype that did not explode. And Matilda, what are you gonna say?
I was thinking it reminds me of that Pokemon, the Pinscher Pokemon. Like it looks like that, kind of, but not really. Or I don't know. I'll have to find a picture of it, but yeah.
You mean Pinscher?
Yeah, Pinscher. Thank you. Yeah. It looks like Pinscher.
And Killian, I have given you guys the general idea of what Lucine has done with this. What does the machine look like?
So describe the scoopies again.
It's just
it's like bug-like mandibles.
It's yes, exactly. It's like, but it's 4 of them that kind of swirl around each other, and then each one moves forward and scoops in individual motions, and then deposits the dirt around the back.
Gotcha. So I think in keeping with Killian's theme, which is birds, I think it almost looks like an owl when it's not being used. Like it kind of looks like almost like a capsule. But then when it is in use, the scoops are actually kind of the rounded top of like the owl figure. But when they activate, the scoops kind of open up and then slide down, and then the drill bit and everything comes out the top. And everything else is kind of housed in just like a very sleek, basic metal kind of like carapace. Because if you make it too fancy, it's just going to get caught on roots and rocks and all that kind of stuff.
You guys
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, you guys have managed to create the base of this machine. And it's functional. You did not have time to do particular test drives, but as far as you understand, simply a showing. And as you prepare the machine for like buffing, and just to make it as shiny as possible for the people that you are 100% certain have the money to put behind this, you sit back knowing that there is a modicum of risk with the degree of success that you have pulled here. As we circle back and pull away from this 2-week-long cavalcade of work, Lavos is lonely in the family home. But all of you come back together. Or, just before the end of these 2 weeks, did anybody have anything that they wanted to do privately?
Should I say what I did on downtime?
Yes, thank you.
I guess the first thing I wanted to do was, I'm real curious about that name that I know nothing about. But as I have the researcher background, so I should know where to find stuff about what I imagine is Orcish theology. Which I doubt the Owl Library has a lot of, but I should know whether or not they have anything.
Yes. The Owl is a collection of knowledge. You know that the Owl kind of... It's restrictive. The amount of information that they offer you is what has been kind of allowed to be spread through at the Urk of Ogma, the god of knowledge, and the god of free sharing of that. You know that if you wanted to get deeper into it, it's going to be word of mouth in story and song. The Orcish tribes that live within the Anvil, particularly Groom's district.
Yeah. So I guess I go there and try and find out what I can about it. I go and look for, I guess, shrines in Groom's district. Is there a similar thing? Like, is there anything close to shrines in the district?
Within the outer areas, there's some small statuettes, but nothing that would literally be like worshipping shrines. Okay. Worship in Orcish society is more in deed than in physical manifestation.
Yes. I guess, yeah.
I
guess that's her cousin she could go talk to, but that sounds like an RP thing, you know?
You also know just one person, one other half-orc, precisely, who owns a shop nearby, but not even in the district. Here's what I'm going to say. Go ahead and roll Persuasion. There's a base level of success here. Being an orc and moving into the Orcs district, being like, tell me stories of our ancestors, is not going to fail. But I want to see how well you find this information.
That's Persuasion, you say?
Indeed.
Normal! Still don't have Bardic Inspiration, so that is a 3.
A 3. There is a base level of success here that you achieve. You do learn that Ilnaval is an orc god of strategic warfare. An orc god of intelligence. which is a rare trait nonetheless. He is a leader of those who lead the charge, those who are actually willing to step up and be those who lead tribes of orcs. And of Ilnaval, there are many, many, many who just offer him tribute during the beginning of a fight. The first steps that you would take into combat are offered to Ilnaval.
Awesome. That's great. I like that a lot. Sick. Okay, could I say how many days do you think that took? Just one day? Or
With your 3 persuasion, to learn that, it took you 3 days.
Okay. Cool.
You have 11 remaining.
Were we doing one thing and then looping?
No, we're all done ours.
Oh.
I think so. Like
Mostly because
plan-
we spent it all on like one thing for the most
Ah,
part.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
And,
I was
yeah.
Okay, I was just gonna say I spent 3 days doing that. I'll spend another 3 training in cook's utensils with Ron, and then the other 6 are spent at the Rift Hunters Guild trying to become a whelp. Am I not even a whelp yet?
You are just a member. You are not yet a whelp.
Yeah, I'm
So
gonna
you
try and become a whelp.
So you spent 3 and then 3 with Ron. That's 6. So you
Yeah.
have 5 days remaining.
Oh, sorry, I thought we had 12 days. Well then, yes, 5 days at the Rift Hunters Guild.
You had 14. Yeah, so you had 11 total. So with 3 studying that, 3 there, and then 5 there. Perfect. So 5 days in the Rift Hunters Guild. You can see that during your training, you're not even spending like the morning training there, but you're actually taking a good amount of time to get accustomed to the means in and out. And this just dedicated time that you spend in the guild has been noted. Where people did not like talk to you before when you arrive, now they flip you off. That's
Nice.
like now they're actually recognizing your existence within the area and are taking note of your movements. Some of which are really shitty at hiding the fact. They're just like, oh, you piece of trash. You want to get a drink? You look thirsty, asshole.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Great.
Is there shitty ale?
No, I mean we can get whatever. Honestly, it's all actually pretty good. It's like-
That's good.
but
I
actively
usually
trying to
only
be
drink
mean to
shitty
you.
ale.
Oh well, let me get you a little bit more accustomed. Piece of here, follow me. You continue throughout your training with the guild. Nothing yet comes of it, but advancement.
Okay.
At the end of your guys' 2 weeks downtime, you can see the city around you pays you no heed. The world itself continues, as always, unflinchingly, and things in the city continue to move. It actually feels somewhat dead on the city streets as you're moving in and through them. You find yourselves moving to a location not far from Vincent's own black sheep, as you are probably gathered together for one brief foray, and then brought via Fairlin and the carriage to the entrance to Ishtar's district. You are dropped off in the outer areas, and you find yourselves here. Theo is awaiting you on the outskirts, and he begins to approach. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Are you prepared? What do you need? What do you have? And what are you yet missing?
Vincent's probably already here. He's probably here first thing in the morning. So this would be you guys
I
getting
think you
prepared.
all are. This is the moment where you all arrive.
I know you guys. You're doing the thing, and you guys are just. Do I have a thing I'm supposed to be doing? Am I just here?
That's up to you.
Cool. Oh, okay.
Are you just here? Or are you something else?
I mean, I can do other things. Are you? She like sort of glares at him a little bit. I can do other things.
I didn't say you couldn't. I was asking you what you can. Is that aggression pointed towards me or towards yourself?
I don't think I like this guy. She obviously says that loud enough for him to hear.
I don't have to be liked. I simply need to achieve results.
I didn't really sleep. I made a presentation of my research and kind of what we did. I don't know if it's going to sell it. It might be boring. I don't know.
Do we need to show the product working?
I think just a flash or a foray of the actual product itself kind of achieving what it is it's meant to be doing. What is it that you have made?
And she like turns to Bladebeak behind her that has just been like dragging, essentially hooked up to like a little pulley like wagon. I imagine there would have been one at the warehouse.
Totally fine, yeah.
And if not, there's just a bunch of random automatons hoisting this thing under a curtain. It's it is a subterranean vehicle, a personal underground craft. Fits one person that both digs to propel and to gather air for the individual that is inside.
So I'm just gonna call that performance check a 3. As you begin to describe the function of it, he looks towards it and he looks towards you and he says, I am going to level with you. I had placed this on the docket almost as basically the way that I could get this in this instance was it was a rush order. So if you are to sell or you are to not, there is a modicum of interest already, so to speak. I would say work on your delivery best as possible and make it snappy, make it charismatic, something pop. Bring up something to sell this strong. But that comes after. For now, Vincent, her eye has not yet arrived. You are punctual as always.
He just kind of nods from the carriage. And he'll get out and just make his way past and go inside and start getting things ready.
And the rest of you, I don't believe we've ever shown you the interior. Welcome to the Sibyllite. You all move through the district until eventually you find a large grand theater. A central kind of like large wooden shingled roof that is almost being opened from the top that wasn't even like known to be capable of being opened as the light begins to shine in from the sun ahead. The early midsummer begins to bear down upon the open stage, and as it hits the upholstery, kind of gives off this just red shimmer. You all enter into this large open grand theater, sloping downstairs and a balcony above, and a performance stage at the front, just decked out with various different instruments and different setups and large canopies in the back. And as you show up, Vincent, Harai kind of begins to arrive behind. And you all now see this Air Genasi individual just sweating from the top down. Headband kind of like covered on the top of his head that, do any of you know Primordial?
No.
It just has a single character written atop it. And as he is moving towards, he's just shaking himself out. You can see it almost looks like he's just got out of an aerobics class. Bright purple skin. It's my ritual. How are you all? Nice to meet you. Hello.
Hey, these are some of my family members. Killian will be participating in the auction later as well. She's invented something for it.
He looks over towards Jojo almost expectantly.
I look exactly at Killian, and if he doesn't look at Killian, I kind of I'll point.
He looks over. He looks down. He looks back at you.
This one is Killian.
Oh.
Goblin Tinkerer. That's cliche, but that's fine.
Cliches are common for a reason.
You're all very strange. He turns and begins to make his way towards the stage. Vincent, I've been listening in my head over and over again and trying to figure out the choreography. The last few steps, I think I've got them.
It's good. better not slip up. Is there anything I can do to help?
Just during practice, you gave that little bit of that little just bardic boost. If you could throw some of that towards maybe in the middle, push that momentum forward. How many can you produce? That magic.
Vincent thinks on it. I could give you 4, but yeah, I don't think you'll need that much. Either way, I was thinking about this as well. I think we should use everything at our disposal. I find those who limit themselves based on some sort of honor system doesn't work out. You should do whatever's in your capabilities to achieve your goals.
Tell you what, here, let's talk. Office. Let's go to the office. I have some ideas I want to run by you. And he immediately moves and leaves, kind of just gives a hand wave behind and takes off.
Vincent turns around and looks to you guys if you need any last things from him before he heads off.
Did you also want that boost I told you I can do?
I was going to incline and look towards Matilda. During our performance, do you think you can help out as well?
Yes.
And he'll just nod expectingly. And I hope you guys enjoy it nonetheless. And he'll head off.
I can give you one too, Killian, if you want.
Sure. Killian is like writing on like a parchment. She's like starting to like write out her presentation. But in addition to that, she has taken out some of her tools, specifically the like all tool, and she has learned a new cantrip for today. Mold Earth.
Nice.
And she's going to start looking around at if there's anywhere that there is normal dirt or earth in this area.
I don't think the auction's taking place in the theater, where you guys are going to go over to the Cobble District afterwards, where it is.
Okay.
This is just for the performance for the nobles ahead of time, and then there'll be like an intermission. You guys will be carriaged over. Yeah.
Gotcha.
One thing I will note. Actually, Jojo, we'll do your hand raise first.
I just wanted to know if, in preparation for today, if I could have spent an hour to resummon Gambit. I have the materials needed.
In the morning today, you absolutely could have, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
So you have your bowl of spaghetti on your shoulder once more.
Oh, I resummoned him as an octopus because I felt that was more fitting.
Even better. Now he's basically just himself, but every now and then he just begins to move his arms around.
I imagine
being like,
he sort of like put one of his tentacles in his mouth and went, and his head sort of popped up a little bit.
Excellent. As you all find yourselves here, beginning to just kind of like split up a little bit, you're looking around, examining the venue and finding just places. Theo begins to move you all to the back and is like, so, I don't know that I have clothing that will fit you. However, we do have a dress code. I have costumes, if you're interested.
This is to Killian?
To all three of you.
Oh.
Okay. Costume self. Sure. What? I'm not gonna dress me as a tree, right?
He begins to size you up and down and says, I would not want a tree in my audience. However, we shall have to find something that fits.
What do these costumes entail?
Clothing. And he turns and begins to leave.
What he's implying is that you guys are underdressed for the occasion.
You said we were fine as ourselves.
Did you just say that?
Vincent thought you guys were fine for themselves. Theo was thinking otherwise.
As you all
Say it so stupidly. Tell me I'm underdressed.
You make your way into the back room with Harai, who looks towards you, Killian, and looks towards you, Vincent, and as the doorway closes, he looks to you and says, you brought a goblin wearing rags into the auction? I don't even know what's going to happen. Weapons might be brandished here.
I understand the situation.
Are you unaware of who's coming? Has Theo not filled you in? Does Theo even know?
Theo mentioned it was nobles from up north. That was about it.
One of the people that are coming is the General of the Blooming Blades. Does that not strike anything?
No, I understand the situation. Frankly, if we're supposed to disguise her as something other than a goblin, it's not going to happen. It would be false advertisement anyways. But I think it's about time that some people learn to accept certain things. However, we can change her clothes and stuff, of course. I can ask anyways. She might not want to.
He's listening intently and he says, "There's more at play here than I thought there was, wasn't there?" I should have expected as much. Not a diver myself, but it seems like you have a foot in the grave and a foot in the future.
I think there's certain individuals within the city that haven't quite realized how the future is to unfold. I think it's a matter of time before they catch up, or they're left in the dust. Anyways, let's go over these things, and Vincent will lay out. He's actually got quite a few spells that he's going to do during the performance to help out, and we've practiced with these. Illusionary dancers and things like that will come up on stage that help out. Obviously, Parai will be the center stage, but that'll also happen. So he'll quickly note down a couple of things, and I'll head out and talk to Chili and the others. You get ready.
He gives a nod and he looks towards you and he says, "Vincent, it's an honor." Then, with a look of he's been pretty much just energetic and excited and all of this throughout the entirety of the practice, but now he's giving you a serious look like it's fucking go time. And you begin to make your way back. You can see that he's practicing the motions and the movements as you leave the practice room, this large open room just entirely window encased. What do you do?
Vincent will head over to the family. He'll start. Did Paka come with us or not?
That's up to you. I don't think Paka would have.
No.
Yeah, that seems unlikely.
Vincent starts thinking. He's pretty familiar with the stage. He's done stuff here like basically the last 10 years. He knows where a lot of the costumes and dress stuff are. He'll go pick up a couple things and bring them over to Killian and the others, not knowing that Theo had already done that. And he'll come out. Well, how are you guys getting ready? I have a couple things I wouldn't mind you switching into if you want to make a good impression.
The only, for the most part, Killian and Matilda, Matilda, what you were wearing was okay, but there is it's just, he's like, this is all right, but it's very clearly not silk. And he leans through and finds some costumes that like a blazer that throws on top and a nice long coat that begins to accent the back. And he's like, are your ears pierced? Excellent. And he procures some just
half an ear gone, but
I don't have time, unfortunately, to tell you what, we'll just a little bit of putty. And he comes in, he puts an earring in a piece of putty and looks towards you and is like, "Are you certain?"
Yes.
Very well. Places that down. Jojo, the only thing that fit was a jester's costume. And then he brings it up towards you and is just like, "That's a bad idea." He puts it off down.
Yeah.
Vincent, the industry is very svelte. Vincent, at this point, as he's trying to be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," that's when you enter into the room.
Yeah, he's got something for everyone. I feel like Vincent's love of fashion. Theo likes clothing, but I think he's more obsessed with other things. Vincent's very obsessed with clothing. Do you think he'd be able to find something that would suit them better?
With your degree in fashion, no doubt. However, within this room, there really is not much that will fit Jojo. It's a rush, but you gotta get something. Else Jojo will stand out in that audience.
Jojo, do I have an idea?
Mhm.
I have some magical, clothing. You put it on, it should fit you automatically. Doesn't
Okay.
require attunement or anything. And he'll point to any of the outfits. Basically, you have to choose one, and
Are
then
they leather
the
armor?
What?
Are they your leather armor that?
No, my shift weave. I can put outfits into it, and then when you put it on, it's
Oh.
magical. It just doesn't require attunement. So you can pick
Okay.
any outfit, basically, and then when you put this on, because you put it into the shift weave, you'll let them fit you.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Just choose something. I don't care.
This is for you, dear. Vincent will hold out things. He'll recommend like 2 of them.
I don't know. You got like a pantsuit or something?
Yeah,
The
he
butler
grabs.
costume.
Yeah, we'll find something. He grabs it. Yeah, and I don't know what we gave Killian and Matilda, but you guys can come up with something.
I think Killian, like, anything that was handed to her, she kind of just like held up and was like, just like not. I think equal parts like, this isn't my style. This is gonna make me feel uncomfortable, but also like, I don't want to ruin this by wearing it. Like,
I think
it's just
Theo gives you a look and kind of like looks you up and down, squints his eyes, and he's like, I have an idea. Cover you in dirt.
Huh.
Coveralls. Shoes, very important. Work boots. Here's what I'm going to say. When you take the stage, it will explain everything. But for now, you're a worker. In fact, you've been working hard for years. Unrespected. Sitting back, toiling, your hands burning with the passion of your craft. Do you understand?
Is Theo just stating Killian's life?
He doesn't know Killian, but he's just sitting here trying to lead Killian through a character. He's like, cool, yeah, that's right
Killian's
so
like,
far, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you so far.
Excellent. You're burning inside. You just want to prove yourself. You just want to prove your worth. Is that something you can get behind?
Wait,
My
wait,
ears like waggle back and forth.
wait. I have an idea. I came up with a little bit of something to do before Killian gets on stage.
I was going to say, oh, we haven't gotten to your part yet. You're a princess, you see. You've been guided by something. But not only that, it's something you're fighting against. But the passion, you cannot deny it. And this
Oh dear.
small goblin, yes.
Dial it back a bit. No, you don't like to, but it needs to be achievable. Not everyone is me.
I
All
feel
right,
like
let's
in
hear
the
your
back,
ideas then.
JoJo's-
He's a little
I feel like
offended.
in the back, JoJo's just shifting through some of Vincent's outfits, and they're just
Some nice outfits, man.
they're really nice outfits, but I feel like I think they look really good on JoJo, but JoJo's just like, this one's got a really,
I
it's
just
so low
picture-
in the
I
front.
pictured the Sims where they spin around, it's like whoosh, and then all of a sudden a new outfit, and then whoosh, a new outfit.
Oobala
The next
davy.
one has like a cape thing, just like.
He has a pair of like commoner's clothes. He's got 2 wealthy suits, 1 aristocratic outfit, and some warm weather outfit in there. That's his 5 outfits.
I feel
he's
like
got
she
in there.
actually ends up in like something with like it's like sort of like low but like late like string and then like a half cape that and like black tight pants and she's just like, I don't know, who is this?
Jojo, dear, and he'll pass you the pantsuit. Just put this into that. Like, take the outfit off, lay this on top of it, give it 5 minutes to absorb, and then put it on and think of the outfit, and it'll come on to you.
Okay.
And Vincent heads off to go get changed himself. Matilda, dear,
Yes.
I think just a nice dress and some shoes. I think it would help bring out your eyes. And he points to the pink one.
Pink?
It's got black accents.
At this point, Theo stands up and is just like, that's not in character. And he turns out and just opens the door and slams it behind him.
Ignore him. Anyways, my apologies. I should have gotten you more prepped. I didn't think that was the point. I got too
That's okay.
obsessed.
It's all good.
I mean, mean, you and me both. I spent all my time making the thing. I didn't think I'd have to put on a show for it.
I think the innocent worker, that's what you are, Killian, to be honest. I think you just need to play it up a little more so they understand what we see.
I have a great name that we could possibly call it. I also have a really cool speech before you go on that I'm really excited to do.
Well, you run that by Killian. I'm gonna go in the back. You guys have a couple hours. You can even plan it during the show if you wish. And Vincent heads off knowing, it's in the afternoon, this presentation, right? And
Indeed.
He turns around on the spot. One last thing. Captain of the Blooming Blades will be here today. Which is all another reason why Killian... Just be careful.
Oh, my speech will be perfect then.
Wait, is that the person that we met in...
Vincent casts Detect Thoughts.
On who?
You.
Oh.
Okay.
He wants to know what you're going to say to the captain of the guard of the Blooming Blades.
Nothing.
I
No,
don't
he's not
think
gonna say anything,
there's a
so-
save to this for the
No.
initial surface thoughts. So when you were like, "Oh, my speech will be great," then he
Have a perfect part.
What
for
is
this, yeah.
what is the surface thoughts that you were thinking at that time?
I'm really excited because Matilda thinks that her little speech is phenomenal and that it's going to really kind of irritate the guy because it's talking about the working together of Dungeonborn and humankind. So it's nothing pointed, but it is pointed at the same time.
Vincent lets that one go. He thinks it's fine. He was a little worried, but this might work.
Is this the guy with the cool hammer thing? That's not him,
Oh.
right?
No. He was a member of the Lyrian Order.
Oh, right.
We keep getting those two mixed up. 'Cause
We
just
always
assume
get
there's
those
one.
two mixed up.
They sound
One mercenary
identical.
group, and they're all assholes.
Yeah, that's honestly it's going to be hard for you to discern all of them because that seems like it's most of them.
All these human militias look the same.
As you guys prepare, Vincent, you taking that in stride with your detect thoughts up, begin to leave. You head out. It lasts a minute, yes?
Yes.
You're walking down the stairway. You're making your way towards the practice area. And you hear a thought. What a waste of time. Honestly, I could be spending all of this somewhere else. To keep up airs, I suppose. A bold and boisterous voice that you recognize but have not heard in a long time. And you have to do a double take for a moment. As the last embers of your spell disperse, around the corner turns a silver-haired old man wearing a suit that costs more than the yearly salary of half of the city. Your grandfather makes his way through the main entrance, past the front desk where in the back the coats and the costumes had been stored, and moves past you. Roll perception for him.
It's Grandpappy!
Wait, so he's in the back. We're in the back area, Adrian. We're not in the. So he
So
went-
Theo took everybody to the coat check area. Behind that, there's a series of costumes and clothing. So you guys are pretty much at the front of the venue right now. And Castiel Goldwater travels right past you and makes his way towards the seating area, where he opens the doors, and you see one person standing behind him, moving with a clipboard in hand. It is not Shion, a Storm Daughter. It is
No, of
another.
course not.
And the doorway closes behind the two of them, neither having noticed your presence.
Okay, but Vincent noticed 100%, right?
You stared right at him as he passed you. And here's the thing, he looks no different than the last you recall.
Vincent just he had to take it's been a while, many, many years since. And he was waiting, and he passed by and kind of nodded to himself that's normal. and then almost like smirks to himself and walks forward and goes back to where her eye was.
You move forward. Theo turns the corner and looks towards you, just shocked. He says, Vincent, and sees the just look on your face and kind of clues in for a moment, just takes a step back. Gives a nod and prepares himself. I suppose I have things to do. It seems you do too.
Mm-hmm. We have one hell of a show to put on.
I suppose so. He makes his way up towards the second floor. And you all begin your preparations.
Yeah. Do you want me to explain what I have in mind for the theatrics of my presentation, or do you want me to do that like later?
I would love that to happen during the performance.
Okay.
So that I could be like, ooh. You all prepare. Jojo, your clothing on fucking point. You know? Comfortable, effective, soft, like nothing you've ever worn in your life. However, you're a little worried about the sweat that might be in it. No squats for the foreseeable future, which for you, not a problem. Squats are not in your character. Killian and Matilda, as you are preparing, you are looking around, and probably at this point, due to just the doom and gloom that has almost been instilled via Theo being like, okay, so stories, we'll need to figure this out. We need to figure out how you guys fit into this situation. It's in spite of his best efforts of trying to be like, okay, we'll figure this out. It almost seemed a little alienating. And as the time continues to crunch down, Lucine moves in covered in grease and is just like, hey, so what are we doing? Like pulling behind her through the main entrance. There are fucking ushers losing their minds as she is moving this grease-covered machine and cart through toward the entrance. No, not inside. Okay, so what do I am I gonna watch this? So nobody told me to bring this. Was this a bad idea, Callahan? Calling out, and people are just like pushing her out of the venue.
I'll kind of snap out of my funk. What is she dragging? Is she dragging the machine?
It is, but it's covered in a tarp and basically locked down with close to a dozen hydraulic buckles that likely have some kind of a gnomish like fucking trick
Gotcha.
to them.
Yeah, I'll rush over and I'll just be like, Lucine, no, we're doing that after. We can leave it here. I'll have Bladebeak guard it. It'll be fine.
Once again, this time in Gnomish. And then in Gnomish, she responds to you, is some kind of trick? You want me to... Is there something special going on? Maybe it's not supposed to be here, right?
No? What?
Oh. Okay, well, in that case, I'll just stand by. She pulls back and moves over to the side, just off the side of the road.
I do say to her, do you know where and then I turn to like Matilda, do we know where we're going afterwards?
You guys don't. You will be brought there via carriage after the auction. It's pretty much kept hush-hush.
Either we're going to an after party, or we're going to be sacrifices to like some weird ritual. I don't know. That's usually what happens with these kind of people. We'll see what happens.
What kind of noble parties have you been to? This is obviously out of character, but I'm wondering.
Brunch in the morning, and we'll take to the veranda at the afternoon, and then the ritual in the evening.
You have to think about who our parents are, and the fact that Matilda makes these connections makes a lot more
Your
sense.
parents are nobility.
In Matilda's mind, they are the nobility of the heart.
No, her parents were like, nobles are bad, and they do this kind of stuff, and these are the kind of things that they do. So that's what I meant more. Because they're usually the ones that ask for, or
Maybe
they usually get contracts and stuff. Yeah, anyway.
maybe we should bring that thing into the back.
Hey, now Killian said out front.
Well,
The ushers are like, out front, outside, out back. This way, please follow me.
Matilda turns around to them and says, "We are part of this auction. Do you not know progress when you see it, or genius? Where are we putting this?" And she like puts on her like best like haughty like bitch like.
I roll intimidation.
Like, okay, yeah. Intimidation. Come on, Matilda, you're intimidating as fuck. Yes, I am intimidating as fuck.
They look you up and down and see the clothing that you're wearing, and they can kind of discern the just sheer amount of gold that's gone into it. And they, my apologies, young lady. Right this way, around the side. I imagine we can stable it alongside with the carriages. They look towards the other usher, who just gives a nod.
And you will give the same amount of respect to my partner here, who was the co-creator of this invention. I
Look
will
down.
talk to your superiors.
You mean Theo?
Do you want Theo to talk to you?
Oh, please. I just love to hear his voice. And then the other one kind of nudges them, and they're just like, remember that we're fucking... we're thin ice, dude. Oh, shit. The incident.
It won't be a nice conversation.
The two of them turn. They lean towards Lucine. Just like, right this way. My lady. Lucine's like, you're close enough. Come on, follow me.
And Killian! Respect to them
Shh.
as well.
Respect to you.
Yes.
And they awkwardly turn and walk away, not knowing how to handle this situation. Thoroughly under your control, Matilda. And as they exit around the side of the area, Vincent, what were you doing? Where did you go?
He went and got ready. He's gonna have a quick conversation with Carson to go over a couple things, because Carson's going to be casting a lot of his magics. Just to preempt that.
Pulls out a little black book and begins to run over the dates alongside you as you're speaking.
You don't have any extra illusion magic, do you? Something to add a little extra to the stage?
Here's what I can offer you. Yes, however, it does kind of... Are you incorporating horror into your scene at all?
There is aspects of that. Her story wasn't all gumdrops and rainbows. I was thinking of something... Is there any way you can add a little bit of color to this? Maybe some black darkness eating away at some gold or something?
Just say the word. People may see, I don't know, spiders or mouths or eyes everywhere.
Interesting. So this is going to be interpretive to their own means.
Quite. A personal show.
During that time, can you... never mind. We'll leave it alone for now. I think this should be fine. There's one or two moments in the song where we could use it.
In the final preparations, you see that the groups begin to flood in. And those of you who have been granted VIP access via Theo have your own personal small section of the balcony atop. Behind you, kind of like in this just raised balcony area, you can see that there are several people of very high means. And below, in the main seating area leading down towards the stage, you see a large grouping of people, one of which you almost immediately pick out. Incredibly ceremonial, still yet wearing medals of honor, the single, somewhat of a high-ranking official, captain, general, whatever you might call it, of the Blooming Blades. It would have been difficult to have picked him out, save for, were he in an area with others similarly dressed, save for the banner that he carried with him before placing it at the entrance and entering into the area. There's close to a dozen, if not a few more. Everybody, actually, I will have Matilda, Killian, and Jojo roll perception.
Arya's like, holy shit, this dude is like really is into himself. He has a fucking banner.
He carries a banner with him.
Yeah, damn.
Could you remove Bardic Inspiration from me?
For sure. Is your character here? Let me go. And
Yeah, we're all by the dungeon area. I buffed her.
Perfect.
Just as a quick question, do any of your guys' spells have a range on them? And if so, do you need to be within a certain range of Vincent to give it to him for his performance?
If you want my boost, it has to be a touch.
Mine's touch too.
How long does it last? I know guidance is a minute. How long is the
10. It's 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay. So you can just meet me backstage just before
It's
the
also
performance.
every check for 10 minutes. It's not just one check.
Okay. That's fine then.
Jojo, you said you wanted Bardic Inspiration off. There you go.
Yes. Thank you.
The evening begins to die down. Theo enters onto the stage. At this point, you know that there's 5 to 10 minutes before the show starts, and everybody begins to move down and toward the back of the stage, being led by an usher. Straightforward and beautiful upholstery leading through into a green room where Vincent and Harai stand. And looking in, Harai dressed in this like kind of long interpretive costume. At the beginning of the show, he's insisted that it be as tight to the body as possible, that eventually flows out to a flowing gown. But right now he's standing, kind of moving, almost squeaking. And you all enter into the green room as he's like, "Hello, everybody," and then kind of sits down on the side as flat as he can, closes his eyes and begins to prepare. You see his mind literally begins to steam out the ears. And you are now in the green room.
We probably want to leave it to the last minute, huh? I don't know how long your performance
You can
is.
do. He looks towards the octopus on your shoulder. You can
Oh!
do things out of your familiar, right?
Well, I
Just
can
leave it
cast
with us.
spells, but this isn't a spell. It's a barbarian feature.
Is it? Oh, that's true. Age, you wouldn't allow that, right?
That do not do.
Spell? Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise
Well-
it messes with raging. So I can't do it during rages. So
That makes sense. Okay. Okay. Well. Yeah, we should wait till the last moment.
okay.
Possible.
I'll wait in the wings. Is that what they say?
That's what they
You can
say.
just stand here with us. That is what they say.
You guys await, and the just air is palpable. Yet Vincent stands and sits calmly, and just prepares as his usual stealth up to the last moment. Harai, sweating buckets, both because of the tight clothing and simply because this is how he is. And as Theo opens the door, you see his face hit like an eagle's gaze as he stands, as though there was never anything hindering him in the first place, and he moves towards the door, opening it, throwing aside a curtain that wasn't even in his way, and then exiting out of the room. Theo looks towards you, Vincent, and gives you a nod and smiles. All of you might want to take your seats.
He looks towards Theo. This one's staying here. He points towards Jojo.
All right. You are led down the pathway. You hear the faint murmurs of a few scattered groups of people and haughty laughter, until eventually you find your footsteps hitting solid flooring. Up a few steps, light cascading out through closed curtains draws you in. Jojo, this is the last moment you have, as Theo opens the curtain slightly and begins to move out, beginning to deliver his address. Hello, friends.
You see Vincent and Harai, I'm assuming is right here. This burst of energy like goes in like up into her fist, and it's just this chaos in her fist. Ready? And she just like lightly taps you in the sternum, and you feel like a sort of a force. It doesn't hurt, but it definitely is like a pressure in your chest that sort of turns into what sort of feels like an adrenaline rush. You too? And she like holds her fist out to her eye.
Looks back towards you.
I nod towards him.
But I want it.
Okay.
It reaches a
holds
hand.
This time. Oh, sorry, what?
I was just gonna say he reaches out for a fist bump.
Oh yeah, okay. And she fist bumps, and then like whoosh, the whoosh of energy like goes from her into him. For the next 10 minutes, you can add a D3 to any ability check and attack roll.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yes. For 10 minutes.
Vincent has cast awe on himself as well.
Matilda, are you offering a blessing?
I don't think hers is going to be able to help because it only lasts a minute.
You never know.
It's true. It's just one of those things like I'd rather you be with Tillian supporting her than back here. Unless, of course, you wanted to fight for that.
No, I'm happy to be where people need me.
Okay.
Vincent, you stride forward and you enter onto the stage. Theo calls you first. Harai knows to enter afterwards once the sting begins, to move in like air ruffling through the curtains. And Vincent leans backward, pointing over as you see little bits and wisps of energy pouring forward and just unveiling an illusion, revealing a grand piano sitting at the back, revealing a lute, a violin, a bass, various different instruments throughout the area. And all of them kind of just at once shuffle backwards to their original positions. As within the stage, the spotlight ignites and shines down on you. You hear one chair creak in the audience, with the darkness and the distance belies who it might be.
Vincent's hoping it's someone, but who knows?
What do you do?
What is he supposed to do? I don't know exactly what is this performance? Is it like music goes out and dancing starts and then all this stuff happens kind of?
This is your performance now. As Theo begins to show you, he gives the immediate introduction. Now taking the stage, Vincent Goldwater and Harai Zephyr in their very first ever collaboration. He leans back and begins to clap. You hear clapping throughout the audience. As the light ignites, it's all you.
Yeah, basically a couple tunes ring out, sort of like to think that the song starts out very like innocent and then goes somber, and then it's almost like an uplifting inspiration but also sort of sorrowful throughout the whole thing, as all the instruments tune in, and then there's lots of illusions of stuff that helps to accompany Harai on the stage with his dance, but they all like peter out and scatter as things go on.
Harai moves in as his musical cue begins, and as each step hits with the fall of the bass and the violin, the piano begins to pick up in the background. His movements, his steps, fluid, like air. Like the wind, he begins to dance. Accompanied by the music in the background, you can hear tears hitting the stage, and with each footfall hitting the tier as though that were the X upon which he was to land, he continues his dance. The people in the audience, intrigued. Roll performance.
Okay, so I get to add a D3 to this. I will also inspire Harai for this check.
You have to be playing an instrument at that time. I'm just kidding.
No, you don't.
I know.
You can even just be in his head and be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to help him out.
I like the fact that you're a bard of oration too. So you're just like, listen to me, friends, all of you. Oh, 1 second. You just pluck a string. Okay, good. You had a D3 and yes, perfect.
Do I get any other bonuses or it's just the D3? Just curious if Harai did anything.
Harai has his own checks to roll.
So a D3, I think this should be good. Advantage from awe. Okay, I will re-roll that. Inspiration part.
With the
A
dissonance,
little better.
it's a little bit almost double. With the dissonant tones of this instrument that has never been heard before ringing out throughout the area, and the interpretation of this song that nobody knows the origin of, the mystery of it begins to enthrall the audience, pulling them in. You hear more seats begin to lift, but not in surprise. It's almost as though they themselves didn't realize that they had left them. You can almost hear the tears as the song hits a sorrowful moment, but then lifts. Uplifting, thoughtful, a pause. Everything begins to pull in at once. Roll your second performance check. This one does not have the 1d3 bonus.
They all do.
Oh, they all
Yeah,
do. It's 10 minutes.
They all do. Yeah.
This performance is not more than 10 minutes, I don't think. Okay.
Here's the fun
31
thing.
again.
This performance is more than an hour long.
What?
Your first set is a half hour.
What? How can you dance for an hour straight, Adrian?
Welcome to Horizon Zephyr.
Oh my god. I was
It's not an
following
hour
that.
straight. There is an intermission in the center, but it is a 3-part
Wow.
act. It is a 3-part story, as Harai had been dictated. However, you no longer have any chance of failure. Your third performance check is gravy. As you are moving through each individual piece, those party members who are listening brought back to the story of the dungeon, of Astrid and her struggle through the moments, and Harai knowing virtually nothing of that which he dances to, but understanding the emotion of it entirely, plays Astrid as best he can. And it's beautiful. You are taken away. As the story continues. Vincent, make your last performance check.
And this one is without the D3, right?
Yes.
I will add 2 from Astrid's ring. $27.
Stark silence. Sweat hitting the sound of solid wood. The final footsteps begin to encircle. And as Harai places his last foot down on the ground and falls, blue flames erupt around him and lift to the sky above. The dress that he now dons flaring out as it ignites in the flame and begins to pull in towards him, and he raises a hand towards the sky before clutching it closed in rage. And he falls. And in those last moments before the end, I'm going to roll a general wisdom saving throw for the entire audience.
I would just I was using Ebony and Ivory. It imposes disadvantage on any charm-based checks for people. I don't know if this would fall under that.
I will narratively grant you that. They rolled globally, all of the people in the audience rolled a 14 down to a 2. The people in the audience, as the flames begin to pour in, you can hear audible gasps like, is this part of the show? Someone should help them. As they move forward, Harai erupts. And the energy lifts, and you hear gasps. What it is that these people saw in their minds, you'll never know. Those of you in the back, which includes the party and a few select individuals, unaffected by the distance of this ability. But those at the front fall backwards into their chairs in fear. And then as Harai stands, rising himself for the last moments, a single note rings out. And the performance is over. And the sound of thunderous applause does not fall. Because they are too spellbound to move. The first claps come through as Theo begins to lift himself. And then the wave begins. You're moved off of the stage immediately, as is protocol,
Yeah.
by the ushers. And finally, as you find yourself in the back, Harai collapses. and just stares up towards the ceiling with a smile on his face. He says, This is what I've been searching for. I need to rest
Water
now.
here? Yes, you need some water.
I just keep it coming. Theo meets you guys on the second floor and grabs you to quickly usher you down and brings you all together in the green room in the back, as you all now find yourselves together once more.
Jojo's eyes are just red.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed the show. You can see Vincent, he's got a little bit of sweat. He's somewhat clammy, but other than that, he's like cool, calm, like as usual. Well, I think that went over pretty well.
That was pretty good.
So I didn't have any doubts.
Pretty good.
He looks over at her eye, just like collapsed on the floor. Do we have like a fan of sorts, Theo? Maybe some cold air.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, give me a moment. You can see his eyes are just completely glossed over that speckling starlight. And as he fixates and focuses for a moment, you see it disperses. And he makes his way outside, where he procures some ice water and some towels. The sound of ushers keeping people back from entering into the back room is audible. Footsteps leading up to... do you know who you are holding back right now? It's like, right, yes, absolutely, sir. Please return to your seats, and it's just constantly behind in muffled tones.
Could Jojo just go up to that area and just stand there, like, if anyone tries to
He's a well-dressed
push
bodyguard.
past them? Yeah, just like, yeah. He's just standing there
With
being
like red puffy
yeah.
eyes. Like
Fuck me. Yeah, she has obviously been crying so much. She's just standing there looking like, yeah, sure, I want to fight. Come
I'm
fight.
emotional right now. Try me, bitch.
Roll a general intimidation check.
Okay. I love either way. It's great. Okay.
Excellent. You stride forward, and with that, the look in your eyes of like, these are tear punches. You do not want to be on the other side of them. Half of the people immediately just like looking towards these like lithe ushers, and then this just barbarian that is walking towards them with pride and purpose. Several of them are just like, and they turn and immediately begin to go back. A couple people that you might recognize. Roll history.
Could Gambit help? My little octopus.
Gambit is mimicking your movements. The noodles just become like flexed arms.
It's 21 history.
21. You recognize several of these people. First off, there's someone that you saw just like in vague flashes in the past, but had kind of like just heard of and saw pictures in, and it connected in. Oh my god, wait, that was that person I saw in the deanery. A minister of foreign affairs and the high judge of Gond.
Oh.
Within the city, Minister Ventalia Olandi had visited this, and you can assume is going also to the auction. In the rear, you see the Princess of Amaranth,
Oh.
Adelaide Edelweiss.
Oh, so the
Who had
drow
approached-
princess, not the other one.
No, that is the human princess. And who you have just successfully intimidated by rolling over 10. She turns and immediately begins to move her way back, and at her side, a figure you are very familiar with, Mattis Feathercap, the courtier of the king, who you had previously seen in your entry into Shiana Stormdaughter's home, who turns and is just like, we should get a princess, and just immediately leads her away as you approach.
Courtier, what's that again?
A individual who's like an official who visits with the king at court and offers them an ear and counsel. A
This is
very,
the
very, very
human-
high-ranking individual.
Human princess.
The human princess, Adelaide Edelweiss.
And it was Ventalia.
And let me pop that open again. Ventalia Ulandi. I will
Ulan.
put
I
these
remember
in
the
the
prince
chat.
sucked, but I can't remember if the princess
She
sucked
looked really bored. She gave us like a bored tour of the city. This is
Okay.
for people at home. We did a one shot with these individuals, but yeah, she was the one that was just kind of like, oh yeah, and then she like left afterwards.
There are
A
several
little higher
individuals.
yourself.
Oh, quite. There are several individuals who you do not recognize that also leave. But they are a few of which you discern as being just not from around here, at the very least, based on their dress. It almost seems ceremonial in ways that you don't recognize.
Jojo's gonna sort of turn back to the others and be like, "Hey, there's some. I mean, do you guys want to meet with people?" Like she says to Vincent and her eye, or
I
should I
turned
just
her eye.
stare them away?
Her idea. You might need a rest, but
I'm not about the people, I'm about the show. The show is finished. And so it's on to the next one.
I had my notes out while you were doing it. I really appreciated how close it was to what we're trying to do.
I knew you guys would all notice it. Definitely took inspiration from Astrid's story.
Yeah, it was very good. I really liked it.
We're not gonna get in trouble for that, right?
I kept it as vague as possible, dear. Anyone who would
Okay.
already know about it would maybe understand, and they would already know about it. Anyone else, it's just theater.
Okay.
What was the con saving throw for?
I was like, is Matilda crying? And she got a nat 20, so she was not crying. Did not make her cry.
Had a softer eye than usual, but no tears came from them.
No tears, no.
Well, I guess if he wants to make it a depression. Theo,
Theo approaches, still having kind of poured various glasses of water. Yes. How can I help you?
don't want this to become an unorganized mess, but thinking back on how these events usually go, is there a place to mingle with the people who performed afterwards?
Of course. We have several meeting rooms. But not to mention, there will be some refreshments served in the entrance lobby. That will be the location.
Well,
What do you plan to do about him?
Vincent will look at the party for a quick second and then look back to Theo. I don't think there's anything to do.
Is someone
I'm
else
sure
gonna kill
he.
you?
Sorry, Matilda?
Is there someone else here that's gonna kill you?
No, dear.
Okay, that's fine.
My grandfather seemed to have shown up at one of these events. If we're lucky, he'll notice me. And then I can get a smile out of that.
You want him to notice you?
Well, he's ignored me and my mother's existence for the past 28 years. 29, actually. Birthday was last week. I think I missed it. Either way, 29 years.
Well, depending on, I mean, from what he did to her, that seems like a good scenario.
Not when he does it in the manner that he does. It's not a simple, forgive and forget. It's their existence isn't existing. Either way, some people need to pay for what they have done.
Yeah.
But all in due time. Vincent's demeanor is a little bit he's mostly normal, but you can see he's a little bit his eyes are wandering a little bit more, but then he kind of shakes his head and gets back. Well, either way, I'd like to go out and see them. I don't like to keep my fans waiting.
Good.
You all begin to trek out into the meeting area. So first off, as you guys are being led from Theo towards the entrance, moving around the side, you can see that the ushers have cleared the pathway, and relatively easily, after Jojo's intimidation, there's just about nobody there. You can hear the hustle and bustle of people over in the entry room speaking about their theories, what could that dance have meant? This music that accompanied this. You can hear that most of the talks are dominated about the music rather than the dance.
Aw, sorry.
Harai rolled well, but he did not roll 2 31s and a 27.
Oof.
Yeah.
As you
Bardic
were,
inspired him, did he take that?
he did, yes.
Okay.
For the first one, yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
as you guys move in towards the entrance, what are you guys doing? Are you guys Killian, Matilda, Jojo? What are you guys doing right now?
Killian is probably waiting by the wagon to take them to the auction. Like I don't think she's interested in mingling. I think she's purely focused on the next task at hand for her. And I think she probably feels out of place even in that kind of like meet and greet environment.
Here's what I'll say. Roll perception.
Oof.
Yeah.
The way that you are aware to leave is pretty much through this meet and greet area. As you are led in through the front door, this kind of central area is where people are currently gathered. So you begin to move forward and you collect your wits as you reach the front doorway and you can hear the murmuring beyond. Matilda and Jojo, are you kind of just following along with the troop?
I think Jojo, having like recognized a few people during her like intimidation thing, is like her curiosity is piqued about like who else she might recognize. So she's sort of like near the entrance, trying to be a bit of a wallflower, just sort of like looking around, waiting for Vincent to also like go, and then she'll leave with Vincent. Is sort of her plan.
Matilda is looking around the room, assessing it like it's a chess match, and seeing like who's with who's making what moves, and she's just like going through and like assessing everything. But is that she's doing that, but her main focus is to keep eyes on Killian. She doesn't like being in this space, especially with all the whispers of monstrous races going missing, and especially with someone from the Blades here. She's very aware of that, so she's not gonna be on top of Killian to make her more anxious, because she feels like that would make it worse. But she also is just like, goblins not leaving my sight.
So here's what I'm gonna say. Roll investigation in order to try and like discern the clicks and the cliques in this area. And Jojo, roll perception to kind of like keep an eye on everything. Overwatch.
It's very much like Terminator, like, you know, like looking over, there's like those like things that come out of like all the people like
22.
Oh no.
Matilda, this is a social thing you're trying to do right now. This is incredibly socially like divisive.
It's like I feel like you read books and then
Yeah.
being there, it's completely different.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
fair.
books are just like they lay it out in a manner that it's like it's easy to follow along, and you can get the internal dialogue of like the princesses and stuff. And here you're just like,
That person's crossing their arms, so that means they're angry.
That's the angry one.
You're doing the Terminator readouts, but it's all just question marks.
or like it's question marks, and also in like I don't know, like Simlish, like it's like
I don't even read this language. What is this? As you are glancing towards everybody and keeping your eye thereupon, you feel like you have a pretty good handle on it. And Jojo, you're keeping your gaze throughout the area. Theo keeps you and Harai back for a moment, Vincent, and is like, let's just let them stew. The door opened once, they looked, they gasped, oh my god, amazing. And now it's coming. He turns, shores himself up, moves towards the doorway.
her
and-
eyes like on the like he's resting in the back, right? He doesn't want to.
Harai himself is here begrudgingly, basically because Theo was like, you're not allowed to stay behind here. Sorry, door closes.
Yeah.
He's like, I can live here, that's fine. He's like, nope, you're coming outside. But
Vincent will clean him off, prestidigitation, like get us looking tip-top shape.
you are prepped, well and truly. And as the doorway opens, here's what I'll say. Killian, you move through, roll stealth.
Yep. Saw that coming.
That's up to you. I figured this is my interpretation.
100%. Yeah,
Perfect.
100%.
Man, I hope we don't
Blind
lose
roll.
you.
No, blind roll.
Oh, right. Sorry. I can
Reroll.
like.
Inya.
In your roll.
I think it's blind roll, right? Yeah.
You move through. You make your way towards the like the changing room where you had previously doffed your clothing and donned this strange device. You throw off the clothes that Theo's given you, put on your new clothes, and you slink out without a soul knowing you were ever there. Make your way out the front door and you circle around to find Lucine, who had been like, I heard the whole thing through the vents. And is just listening in. You should have heard the twanging and the tinging. It was beautiful. Like more focusing on the sound of the metal than the song. And as she's sitting back and you kind of meet her relieved, Jojo keeping an eye on everything, you managed to see Killian pass through, but you also kind of clocked the leader of the Blooming Blades, who's like just boisterously speaking about like how he's 100% certain that the song was based off of Princess Adelaide. Just like bringing his hands
I'm
up
sure
and just...
Adelaide loves that. Is she nearby?
The courtier off to the side. Adelaide is over in the other corner by herself, as is standard. The courtier is listening to that, and you can clearly see a bit of jealousy in his mind as he's kind of like actively trying to move Adelaide away from that corner. You see that there are very defined situations going here amongst the people. There's those people that you didn't like recognize, the foreign dignitaries, as far as you can tell, that are well and truly just hiding in the corner. Several drinks and some small food, and Vincent and Harian.
Carmina's supposed to be here as well.
Carmina is here. Okay. Carmina had been invited previously and was on the second floor, as befits her station. As
father come, or was it just her?
Does not seem like she is with anybody else. As you open the doorway, Vincent, you and Harai enter, and the conversation around you goes to a silence as a just light clap begins to erupt out throughout the area, and you are given a moment as Theo just takes a step off to the side and says, well, wasn't that an amazing evening? I think we have all witnessed a bit of history being made here tonight. I thank you all for coming. And before we move on to the next venue, perhaps just a little bit of conversation. And then he looks over and just kind of sweeps the area, looking directly at a silver-haired Castile Goldwater who is making his way towards the exit as you enter in through the front door.
I had a feeling.
You see the person who is with Castile. Give me one moment.
Vincent would be immediately looking for him, just because he's hard to miss. For Vincent, anyways.
He is very easy to see. The person who had entered in with Castile is not leaving with him. You see that as you glance around, the person who Jojo knows to be the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Amaranth seems to fit the silhouette of the person you had seen entering in with Castile, and now pays him no heed as he begins to leave.
Who does this individual look like? Do we make like eye contact, or are they also ignoring Vincent?
Everyone is looking towards you and Harai right now. You are the center of attention.
No, I mean the individual. So Castile's leaving. There's someone with him that's following him, right?
No, the person who had entered in with him is not leaving with him. In fact, they're paying him no mind.
Ah, I see. Okay, so he's just leaving. That's fine. Vincent just kind of at when Theo gives this like little speech thing, Vincent will just kind of, and everyone's clapping, just kind of give a little bow towards everyone as thanks. And he'll basically just assess if we're all going to split off or if people are going to come over and start talking and asking questions and stuff. He's not going to pursue Castile.
Okay.
How far is he from Vincent, actually?
The entire area is like 30 feet across.
So as Castile turns around, yeah, I'll do it. In the back of his head, he's just going to hear, I hope you enjoyed the show.
He stops at the doorway. He opens it with both hands, and you can see his imposing frame. Jojo, you flinch for a moment as you can feel the intent of the individual. He turns to face back towards the entrance. Vincent, roll persuasion against Castiel's Constitution saving throw.
Is that even a thing?
This
I
will
don't
just
think
be a
there's number
contest.
possible here.
Is
Aw,
my
still-
danger sense kicking
aw,
in?
still
I'm like,
on
I'm-
advantage. Nat 20.
Is your-
28.
Is your danger sense kicking in? I would say kinda. You get a kinda ping. Whether that's intuition or your barbarian senses, we'll never know. You kind of like you uncross your arms at the very least. Castiel stops and turns around and faces in.
Also, could I have rolled like it would have been the same roll but could that have been deception for Vincent?
Oh yeah, I hope
He
you
doesn't
enjoyed the show.
fucking
Yeah,
care if Castiel enjoyed the show or not.
100% deception.
Okay. Still 28.
He faces inward and says out loud, as people are murmuring and like people begin to move up towards you, you see this noble who's got some like ragged hair begins to approach you and goes to pull something out of his lapel as Castiel says, "A disgrace." And just that breaks the silence. The music stops. The people stop. Stain. A speck. He turns and faces inward again. Says, "What do you think you can accomplish with your meager mind? What do you think you can really do? You and your mother are a fucking disgrace." He begins to step inward towards the center of the room. People around are beginning to look towards each other. Adelaide has perked up. she is like, now she's in it. As she begins to stride forward. Killian, you hear this on the outside alongside Lucine, who is still kind of like bawling slightly. You remind me of someone. My father. A waste of space. You took that which did not belong to you. My name. You, your whore mother, and that disgusting fucking father of yours. And you think, for a moment, you can wear it with pride. What you did up there on that stage was stain it. You have ruined this place that may once have been worth something with your presence. The fact that we are in the same location is my greatest regret in life. He turns and begins to make his way towards the front door.
Vincent just stood there the whole time with a smile on his face.
While Jojo is behind him seething.
Theo,
He's like,
It's not like a full smile, it's just like a half smirk, and he basically heard that and he'll wait till Castiel leaves.
Matilda's like breathing, being like, "Oh my god, it's another old person I want to illness."
here's the thing too about that. You know that's like Vincent, you know that's out of character from what you understand of your grandfather. That was too much emotion to have shown for this man. Even in your memories of the past, when he had thrown scalding oil upon your mother and cast her from his home with naught but 2 copper pieces, he didn't show this much emotion. And he turns to leave as 2 ushers reach forward and grab onto his arms, and he casts them away as though they are nothing but a drop of ash upon his jacket. Theo says, "I sincerely hope you don't expect to return." Castiel, ignoring that remark, makes his way out the door as it closes behind him. And everyone stops and looks towards you.
Oh, to me? Sorry. I didn't pick up on that. I think Vincent just looks around the room a little bit. Let's not let this upset the pleasantries. And is there any, like, in this lounge area, is there any refreshments around or things to grab?
Full long table on the side.
He'll go over and grab a refreshment and just kind of hold it up.
People begin to raise a glass. Adelaide leans forward, takes a few steps in towards the center of the room, astride you, and she stares you in the eyes. Beautiful. Like tan olive skin, piercing eyes, hair drawn back, not a single strand out of place. The courtier approaches. And then she comes within an inch of your face before reaching down and grabbing a flute of champagne. Ting. On yours. She turns and raises the glass as well. You see the people in the room looking towards each other, or eventually they themselves join in the toast. Theo looks towards the band, enraged, as the music begins once more. And you can tell that that music will never be heard again within this area.
Oh,
And then-
yeah, jazz music.
So he looks towards them angry, like, psycho, you imbeciles. Before eventually they...
Too during that scene,
Jazz
didn't
music
they?
stops.
Yeah, immediately. They're like, how do we bring this up? Adelaide looks towards you, leans in, and says, to new nobility.
To a new future. And he'll also ting.
And to the eradication of old ways. And she leans back and begins to move out into the crowd. The people around now kind of fighting each other, not chomping at the bit to come up to you, but trying to figure out who's going to break the ice beyond Adelaide. Somebody could have moved in, but the courtier giving people deadly looks immediately brought that tension back up to a maximum.
Yeah, I think after Adelaide leaves and Vincent kind of like his passive insight very easily reads the room. He'll just sort of like try to ease the tension over by essentially trying to go up and approach people, like the ones that seemed like they wanted to talk to him. And just be like, I don't bite, guys, come on.
The one in particular, the noble who previously had been excited to move towards you, hands you a piece of paper. And then gives you a nod and stares you in the eyes with this knowing look. Before turning in...
Recognize them?
You don't. You actually, like, in everything that you know about the society here, you don't recognize this individual.
Okay, so they hand me a piece of paper and then just book it.
Hand you a piece of paper in secrecy, like to make sure that you have it and nobody else does.
So like we should.
nobody else
and I
knows.
can feel it.
And then he turns and he grabs a flute of champagne, downs it quickly, and says, well, I personally am not about all of these awkward situations. But to the auction, with me at the very least. Anybody who wishes to share in my carriage is going to be, well, rather exciting. And he makes his way out towards the entrance. In the piece of paper is just a single small phrase and a name. Estevan Leteri of House Delian summons you to a meeting, a lunch.
He gave you his phone number.
He did.
Hey man, I'm filling up my medieval cell phones.
Little black
Vincent pockets it, and I'm assuming he reads it later, and that's what he finds. Okay.
A majority of the people offering pleasantries and coming up to you and asking you questions you're more than not willing to respond to about, like, so what did that mean? What was that part? And Harai kind of a little bit taking a back seat and enjoying so, being kind of in a shadow as opposed to being so incredibly drawn into these droll conversations in his right. The evening kind of becomes, it drizzles down.
Vincent will check in with the party mentally and just be like, hopefully you enjoyed that little bit of a show, but it's no need to go gantiventing off after him, Jojo. He can see her seething. He can feel her seething.
Yeah, I know. I know. Oh my god, we're gonna kill him. This is in our head, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna kill him at some point, right?
I'll bring you guys up to date on some things I have in mind. For right now, just enjoy yourself as much as you can in this situation.
I think Jojo's pissed off and she's having a hard time stopping from being pissed off. So she's just like still by the entrance and just like
She looks like a bodyguard.
she just looks like her.
Theo approaches you and just sits next to you and goes, and just trying to bring down the level of threatening begins to kind of just imitate you.
Shut up.
Eventually, Harai approaches on the other side and also begins to just act, but he actually looks more fucking scared or more angry than you do as he gets into the character. And it's just like, every one of these people needs to die by the end of the... Nope, bring it back. And the evening kind of comes down, the pleasantries and the just initiation. All of you being seen here, and the show that had both gone on the stage, and the scandal without becomes written into the annals of the societies of Amaranth. And as the day turns to afternoon, turns to late afternoon, Theo approaches everybody and says, "It is time to move to the venue. There are carriages outside that have been prepared for you. There are refreshments on the interior. Be sure to be responsible. After all, you will all be driving your own carriages." Then you hear like, ha 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 ha, on the inside. He's like, yes, very fast. That's a human joke. Everyone to your carriages, please.
Vincent has his own, so he'll mentally get Carson to have that ready, and he'll invite Carmina to come in there with the party, unless they want to like take the family carriage to pull the like machine with it.
It's probably like, it was relatively quickly that Carmina approached you and asked if you were okay. But like seeing that you were was just like almost a little bit playful with it. And then as you guys leave and begin to enter into your carriages, she graciously and happily takes your hand to reach into your carriage as you were all ferried to a second location. Moving through the city at night is wonderful, to say the least. Staring out into the lights and just seeing the people and everything going on. It's a wonderful feeling. The illuminated flames and the giant Goliaths carrying through and the music that plays throughout the areas. The nightlife carries, especially with those races that prefer the night to the day. Until eventually you find yourselves moved to the Cobble Den, near a large station of the High Vista Trader, a foreign trading company of CERN that comes to Amaranth. You find a beautiful auction hall, where entering in through the rear, everybody is guided in and left in small chairs, save for Killian and Matilda. Theo, at this point, approaches you and says, so as far as I understand, I will pretty much be separate from all of you at this point. However, you can accompany your goods, whatever you have planned. I will announce you. I'm going to roll. You will be the third item on the docket. Are you prepared for that, or would you like me to push it back? I can bring you down to fifth.
How many items are on the docket?
He turns down and begins to look at it. I can't tell you the specifics, I'm afraid. That's quite incredibly illegal. However, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 8 total, 9 including yours.
3 is fine.
Perfect. He moves over, and you can see some people move in. He speaks to them, and they move over towards Lucine, and they pick up Lucine and the cart itself and begin to move in. And she's like, "Oh, okay." As she sits back on the back of the carriage and looks towards you guys, and you are ushered to follow through.
Vincent goes with Carmina and essentially assesses where the party is, but this is Killian and in turn Matilda's showtime, so he's going to give them their space.
Matilda's like vibrating. She's so excited because she's very proud of what you guys did, or what we did.
How far are we from where they're doing their presentation? Are we within 30 feet of them, or?
In this, it's basically like your seating can be determined by you. So entirely up to you.
Okay, I think Vincent he'll go within 60 feet of where the stage is.
You and Carmen sit in.
I have one more of those boosts that I give to Vincent. Do you want me to come with you, or should I go with Vincent?
Sure, it'll be fine. You can just enjoy the show or whatever you say for an auction.
Okay. I don't know what they say for an auction. Okay, bye. Georgia just starts to follow Vincent and Carmina.
Making your way up towards the back, you can hear the people in the background being like, bodyguard, that makes sense. She looks quite strong. Someone in the back's just like, intimidating too. She punched me in the back room. Just complete and utter lies. More rumors spread abound.
Jojo hears that. Like, what?
She punched you. You'd be knocked out.
You can see an individual who is attempting to stealth and slink behind another group. As you call them out, they're just like, but they're still clearly visible as you all begin to move into your individual places. The auction begins.
It's like with Regina George. Like, I hear that she did this. What is the joke with Mean Girls?
I have no idea.
Neither do I, but I like the dedication to not knowing the joke and calling it. Someone out there is going to be like,
Finally we knew Mean Girls quote.
I'm so annoyed that I can't remember right now, but whatever.
I love it. People begin to sit. You see, once again, the clicks form, and as the music starts up once more to kill this silence that I have instilled upon you all. What am I gonna fill here? I think this sounds good. You all sit, as is dictated. And all of you roll a wisdom saving throw. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Looking forward, two people enter onto the stage. Theo, briefly, who just kind of stands there and almost seems to be of a stage presence. The second, once again, you guys recognize. It was the individual who gave your weird apple lecture in the farm. It is. It's the same, save he does not look quite as exhausted. He approaches now, taking care of himself. He says, "Hello, and welcome everybody to the auction. As I'm sure I'd like to dispel any issues that we have right now. There will be no open aggression at the auction. There will be no yelling. There will be no name calling. There will be simply game. I hope all of you have brought your loosest purse strings, because this is a big one." And you hear people in the audience begin to just faintly chuckle. Adelaide, sitting in the back, crosses one leg over the other and pushes one of the chairs forward with a loud scrape. Nobody calls it out. The courtier kind of, you can hear in the awkward silence, the pianist in the back playing. Very well. Let us move right along. First item on the docket, as I'm sure some of you are aware, he looks out about the people every now and then. A Skyrunner. One of Gaunt and Mistra's finest creations. A cutter sloop, to be specific. We will begin the auction at 17,900 gold pieces. You see a hand raised. Points. Another hand raised. Points. 18,200. 18,500. 19,300. 21,000. 21,000 gold pieces. Pointing repeatedly, and Adelaide raises a hand. 20,000. Less than the previous bid.
What a bitch. I love her already.
Oh my God.
Looks towards the individual who had just bet 21,000 and says, 20,000 gold pieces.
Oh, wow.
And then the one who had previously called 21,000 just remains seated. Going once. Going twice. Sold. Adelaide Edelweiss.
Oh my God.
An individual image that was brought up, scribed brilliantly, is then moved off of the stage, and a second piece comes up.
Vincent will lean into Carmina because he's sitting next to her. You know, I can't. You gotta use everything in your docket. Nothing on here you wanted, dear, was there?
Not necessarily. I find this whole thing a little bit gauche. If I want something, I have it created. I don't need to profit off of somebody else's failures. She leans forward and stares. You're not entirely certain what she meant by that statement. Seems like she's more informed about what the nature of this thing might be.
Can I flick a coin in my hand and cast Detect Thought suddenly?
Absolutely. As she says that, she's thinking, pity, honestly. It's unfortunate what happened to that poor family. The DuPont estate has truly fallen.
DuPont estate? Who is
DuPont. A name you guys recognize a few times over.
Yeah.
There is a famous adventurer named DuPont, but there is
Yes.
also an individual who had previously been trapped within a mining endeavor, who may or may not have been fed to a jellyfish that also shared the last name
that?
DuPont.
Oh no. I remember. Yeah. Okay. Great.
As she sits, she says, "Vultures, all of them, to be honest." And she just sits and stares at them out into the distance in the dark auction as though she can see them. Picking their individual locations with the bright pink of her eyes. Second item on the docket, a sky runner. Once again, a cutter, a sloop. A fine piece, as we are all certain had been donated recently, and we shall start the docket at 4,500 gold pieces. A fair price. Does anybody wish to own their very own Magitech engine sloop? 4-person. As the gold begins to rise, people raising their hands one after the next. You hear in the back, "Hey, 5,000." Immediately.
Sid will slowly turn his head to just give it a check to see if someone's just fucking with name, like voices at this point.
He most
Actually Lavos.
He most certainly did not walk in, but in the back there he is. Lavos standing with his
How
finest
far is he
hair
from
oil.
Vincent?
A good 40 feet.
He wearing
Yeah.
glasses with a fake nose and mustache.
No, he just has a really big nose and mustache.
We know he can change his appearance. In the
Yeah.
back,
What a testament to your voices that we all knew right away.
Vincent will connect in with mentally with Lavos. What are you doing?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know you.
He doesn't seem to be reacting to the voice in his head negatively, right?
No.
I know it's you, Lavos.
Oh, fuck. I could have probably played it up a bit, but I know you better.
As long as you're not spending any of the family's funds on this. Also, if you have this type of money, why weren't we informed?
Oh, I don't. I just, I kind of want that.
I'm gonna let you deal with this. You've got
Oh,
your own
no.
holes.
Oh, don't worry. They're already up to 61 grand. And sold. 71,300 gold pieces. Pointing off towards the side. Third item on the docket, as one piece slides past. A mystery item from a famed tinkerer. You may know them as Lucine Frogfoot of Eldgard, who was recently scouted to enter into the city by Yondala herself. And one who had been shrouded in rumor for the last while, now coming to light. Killian. Accompanying them, the lady, Matilda. And then you, Lucine, or Matilda, Lucine, and Killian enter onto the stage. Lucine pulling behind her, like excited, hits the light, and is just immediately falls and just like I'm just gonna pull apart the tarp. You do the rest. She leans back towards the back and is holding onto the tarp like, don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up.
Before entering onto the stage, Killian cast heroism on herself. It's a little bit of temp HP and immune to being frightened. Now this stage, just real quick, because this depends entirely on how this is going to go. Is it like an outdoor, indoor? Like, what's this? Is this like a kind of like a gathering outside? Is this like an interior theater type of dealio? Like, where?
You find yourself basically in almost like a long ballroom that has been reappropriated with a stage on the far end. You can see there's a large bay window that's like half covered by the stage, so it's been recently erected, but it's a long, open, flat room with fine pillars around the outer edges.
Gotcha. Okay. So bringing in 15 cubic feet of dirt and applying it just in front of the machine, probably a no-go, huh?
Here's what I'm gonna say. You do you. There's definitely available dirt outside, and there is a back exit that is like 20 feet away.
So, while we were getting prepared and while the other auctions were going on, Killian took her gift contraption that can collect liquid and store it, and essentially filled it with mud.
Oh, yes.
Just a ton of mud. At some point, when the time is right, she will release said mud into an area that is very, a far away, where I'm not going to spray it. This isn't, we're not going to marine. We're not going to marine land here. We're not
But everyone loves marine land.
Water world. We're back to water world.
Yeah,
Full circle, baby.
But she'll use the device to make a ton of mud, and then erect it into solid earth cubes with molder. But anyway,
here's what I'm gonna say.
Doesn't happen. Yeah.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I want you to roll a ninja d20.
Okay. Ninja.
Okay, continue.
So anyway, that is her intent. She is going to step forward and has the contraption with her, in front of the device, but is waiting for Matilda to do her intro accordingly.
Before we go on stage, Matilda takes a deep breath and centers herself because she's so excited, but it's kind of cracking an egg on her head, where the calm just slowly descends, and then she walks out onto the stage with a poise that you didn't think was possible with her, because she's usually really hunched up, she's a nerd. So you're just huh? And she walks out on stage, and she takes a deep breath, and she says, "Hello, esteemed guests. I present to you a marvel, a meeting of the minds between Dungeonborn and humankind, a testament to what can be created when we collaborate together to further progress, innovation, and the betterment of society, regardless of magical ability. To take down walls, or in this case, dig under them." And I pass it off to Killian.
Killian releases the device. Does mud appear?
You place it down. Lucine's like, no! It begins to pull back, and you can see it grow taut. You place down the device. You press the button. You begin to back up. You hear... Lucine kind of glances over around the other side. And as the device begins to shoot out individual splatters, you can see it's beginning to back up. And it slowly begins to just build with the pressure in this and the amount of mud that can be released right now. You are at risk of covering the entire audience of these nobles in dirt, mud, and muck. What do you do?
I must have rolled a 1 on your fate die.
Yeah. Killian is going
Vincent,
to...
Can he see you panicking, with his insight?
So she's not panicking. She's just oops, this is not good. Because she can't be...
Yeah, Vincent
right
will
now.
connect to be like, Killian, dear, something wrong?
Maybe. It's fine, though. She's going to run to the tarp, sweeping it off of, even though that was Lucine's job, she takes the tarp and sweeps it off and proceeds to throw it over top of the mud and just squeeze the bottom and try to hold it in place.
Oh, I'll help.
The two of you move into position. You grab it, you throw it, and Lucine comes with it, no less, flying over, landing on the other side, giving you 3 points of contact as she kind of just sticks the landing, and it's just Matilda, you move over to the other side, grabbing the tarp and placing it down. The people in the audience are interested. They did not expect this to be a show. And as you all begin to apply pressure, the device on the inside, you begin to see the buildup of mud. How do you do so?
I'd like to distance cast shape water.
Oh, that will help with the move earth. So as you begin to attempt to shape this water, you're kind of pulling water away from earth and causing the earth and the water to just be a little bit easier to move throughout the entire device. Killian, as everything begins to build, I need you, Lucine, and Matilda to roll I'm going to say this is probably athletics, to hold this thing down during the entire ejection of this mud.
I will inspire Killian and Matilda.
Oh, good.
Trying to cast. Oh man, I don't think I'll have time. I wanted to cast Borrow Knowledge on myself. It only takes an action, but I don't think.
Would I have time to throw Gambit over there to latch on with him so I can cast Boost?
Are you trying to do this, like, secretly?
Just football tossing Gambit out of the crowd into the fucking room.
How would I be able to do that?
I don't know. I do. Well, you can actually desummon and summon Gambit within 30 feet of you.
That's true. Okay, I do this.
I like the concept of you go to throw like full football spiral and Gambit just disappears and appears on stage.
Can I please guide myself while I do this?
You begin to utter in a divine word that bounds out into the audience, and you can hear people like, I didn't expect spellcasting in this. As everything begins to reverberate around you, you guide yourself. And Killian.
Yeah.
Matilda.
And
You
And
guys
I
have
put
bardic
stuff?
inspiration, so please roll an extra d6 on your rolls.
Oh, I do?
Yeah, but Killian and Matilda did.
was I able to, in time, cast Boost on one of them?
you cast boost, perfect. I was giving Gambit as like an advantage, kind of like a help action.
Oh, I was gonna touch a cast spell through him.
Beautiful.
Okay.
So this like just spaghetti monster approaches and attempting to be an octopus kind of gives up on that and just begins to hover along the ground towards you, latching onto one of your legs. Who gets the boost?
Would it stack with guidance? Because they're different spells.
Yes.
They do like the same thing. Okay. I think I'm gonna try and give it to Killian though.
Killian,
What
you
did
may roll.
Killian roll on the d6? I can't see it. It's ninja.
Oh, yeah, I actually
You got
didn't.
Killian, she got a 2.
Matilda's at 14, Killian's at 12.
So Killian gets
Fine.
another D4.
Well, I was just gonna say I can Flash of Genius because this is a new day, right? Since like the crafting occurred, or was this the end?
Yeah,
of-
oh yeah.
Okay. So I will Flash of Genius myself, to bring that up to a 15, without your the familiar help.
D4.
Okay. What did Matilda get?
I have a 14,
14.
altogether.
14. Okay. And we don't know what Lucine got, right?
No.
You do not, but Lucine seems confident. As she moves down, you can just see kind of the flex in her elderly body.
So that
Got
is
15.
18.
18. Matilda, your roll all told, 14.
14, yeah.
And Lucine like girds down and holds the bottom. You see the mud begin to lift up. Vincent pulling as much water out as you can using just the silent kind of just raw magic that pours through you and the just bardic flow of everything around. Killian, you holding on tight, look in, and you begin to, at the same time, cast your mold earth, pulling everything up as people begin to watch. The little splatter kind of comes out off the side and hits just the edge of the stage that then just gets sucked back into place as you form this just 15-foot solid cube of stone, or of packed dirt in the corner. And as it settles and it lifts itself up from underneath the tarp and the tarp flows away as Lucine kind of just falls backwards, now happy that she's out of line of sight of all of these people. Looking back towards the machine that is now obscured from the people at the front, you begin to hear, oh, intrigue. What do you do?
I poke my head out from around the square, and I go, "Oh, tinkering is dirty work." And then I proceed to I kind of go into a little spiel, like a little TED Talky type of mode, wherein I pretty much say that wasn't what we came here to show you. That's just something something that was made in our spare time. What we really want to show you is this, and then there's no curtain reveal because we already pulled it off, but pointing to the device and saying, skiffs, both on the water and the air, excellent. Magitech, the discovery of our age. But what if you don't want to see what the sky has to offer? What if instead you want to see what the ground has to offer? Or rather, under the ground? And I'll kind of go to the hatch on front of the owl, the burrow beak, and I will lift it up, revealing the chair that is essentially if you were staring at the inside of the hatch, the chair head would be at nearest to you, and then it kind of slopes in and around. And I'll just say, this is simply a prototype of the kind of machinery and tinkering that we are capable of when we work together. And let's see if it works. There's a first time for everything. And she will get into it, closing the hatch and turning it on.
Vincent will, I like to add a bardic inspiration at my last one to Killian's speech, by the way.
Yeah, brilliant. Go ahead and roll for me. Here's the thing, your joke before, no chance of failure. That was gold.
Yeah.
That rang out, you heard people audibly laughing at that. Which just like that, it felt good.
Felt very good.
There is one thing that I neglected to mention. There is a dwarf in the entire group of nobility that had been here previously, and as you were just like, what if we want to find what's under the ground, you just hear, yeah, like called out of the interior. Lucine herself was just like, nailed it. And as you jump into the machine and the door closes down, the entire front begins to move, and you see the scoops begin to prep. The small drill begins to move into place, and the whole central figure begins to move forward towards the stone. The music pauses for a moment, and you hear, "Ha! The goblin wishes to play around in the dirt, does she? Well, I say let her then. 500 gold, says this monstrosity, and does not even start." And out of the audience, you hear one more figure. The voice of Carmina Valentine say, "I'll take that bet, raise it to 5,000. And then the rest of the people in the audience go silent.
Wait, so Carmina's betting that the device will fail?
No.
Will
that
succeed.
It will work.
Okay.
5,000 gold that it'll work.
Can I just say, oh, sorry, go
Mhm.
ahead, Matilda.
No, you do your thing first.
I was just gonna say Gambit is still attached to Killian, and I don't know if this is gonna help, but Jojo's gonna pull out like a little light bulb which glows for a second, and you have basically guidance, but only for intelligence checks for a minute.
Okay.
Hey, I want to say thank you to both for your confidence and your doubt, because without failure, there would be no success, and without success, there would be no failure. So either way, we're going to learn something that'll make this machine better. So thank you, and take it away, Killian.
All right.
Machine closes, points forward.
Pink.
I kind of give it like a little loving stroke, like, just work. You don't need to work for long, just work. And she proceeds to essentially I imagine the interior, because it's clockwork. She just grabs it and starts to not only kind of start the drill spinning, but I imagine that the drill is kind of powered almost by like a perpetual motion. Like once the drill starts spinning, that powers the rest of the machine, and then that continues the drill spinning, and it's kind of like until you put like a stopper in that motion, then it would shut off.
It kind of has like weights to cause like a centripetal force to continue.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
As it's
Because
moving,
you don't want to get stuck with no power underground.
Yeah.
It's
yes.
not a Magitech engine. It is mechanical.
It's like those flashlights, right? That you can like crank to make
Exactly.
light happen.
Yep.
amazing. As you as it begins to lean forward. The people sitting back, now on the edge of their seats, it begins to dig in towards the small brick of dirt. Small, 15 feet for small. It touches the entrance, and you feel resistance. Roll a Tinker's Tools check. The DC from your previous successes and failures has been set. And this is the moment of truth.
You
And
have
this is
a D3.
Intellect?
Yeah.
Intelligence?
You have a D4 from the Eureka boost, and you have a D6 from Bardic Inspiration.
And I'm just gonna use Spark of Genius right away. There's no sense in not stating it, so I'll just add it right to the bonus. All right. And it's a normal roll, correct? No advantage, no
yes.
disadvantage.
Right now, this is all you and the sweat and tears you've placed into your device.
Even you. Yes.
It touches the dirt,
Oh boy.
and you're just like, please work. Boom! You burst out the other side before even finishing the thought. As it reaches the side, boom, slams into the side of the stage, and comes to a stop at the front. Your one thing you didn't even know you put in here, that Lucine may have kind of snuck in, is a just central rotation unit for the chair. So as the entire central section hits the side and collapses down, you see audible silence, tearing through 15 feet of stone in half a second, or 15 feet of packed dirt. As the entire machine comes to a halt, the doorway opens as you are completely horizontally, and as you step out of the machine, Carmina just, ha! calls out loud. The entire audience pauses, and as the individual who you had previously known to be as Lincoln approaches the stage once more, he begins to clap. And then, in malice, 1,100 gold pieces. The individual who had previously called out jarringly towards you, Killian. Whatever this individual would do with this device would not be positive. 1,200 in the audience. 1,250. 1,300. Lincoln has not even started the bidding yet, and he just backs up. 1,350. 1,500. 2,000. 2,100 gold pieces. People bidding back and forth. Adelaide leans in. 2,500. Boosting it up. Lavos. 2,650.
Yeah.
Calling out in the back, different voice. 2,700. 2,750. Just calling out, just bringing the cost up and up and up. Carmina looks over towards the individual who had been in the back, and he says, 3,500. Lincoln strides forward and says, I do believe, if I recall, your actions earlier. Well, I'm afraid they broke the rules. I told you we were to be civil here. Now, ushers, would you escort that individual out, please? Captain, we all must follow the rules, don't we? As he is lifted by two ushers in the back, he's just like, get your hands off me, and makes no movements whatsoever. The stone bodies of the two Goliath who encircle this man lift him out in an instant.
Is that the
how
Blooming
far
Blade?
is he? From
That was the captain of the Blooming Blades. He is
Oh.
no more than 20 feet away.
I'd like to do something to interpose to change how this is going, if I'm allowed to.
Sure.
So when he's just like, I'm not leaving, blah 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 blah, how far is he from Vincent?
No more than 20 feet.
Vincent would like to steadily cast command in the back of his head in order for him to run.
Wisdom saving throw, is it?
Yes, DC is 15.
You suddenly cast command.
He will use a voice, so like he can't be recognizable.
Here's the fun thing. An amulet on his neck alights. You can see the visible magic. He gets another roll. He looks around as his amulet alights to see what or who could have done this. He opens his mouth to speak. Says, yes. Turns and just full fucking sprint makes his way towards the entrance, where he just shoulder down, boom, slams into the door. It boom, bursts open, and he begins to like full march charge out of the room.
Don't trip.
Oh, you cut out.
Oh, don't trip on your banner. She
I'm gonna be honest, he almost forgot his banner. He grabs that and begins to run, carrying it just out in the
Oh my
open. But
God,
you can,
that's
this
so
just,
funny.
it's palpable frustration on his face. Killian, the bidding continues to go up. I need you to roll for me a d6.
I want to say that when you popped out, Matilda was like hugging you, and she's like standing beside you. She's just like so excited that it worked.
The bidding ends at 4,950 gold pieces. Over top of the 1,150 that it had started, for a grand total, with a little bit of a bonus of 5,200 gold pieces. And as that is sold to one of means, you hear, sold to Sakili of Desta. Looking over, you see one of the two foreign dignitaries, who gives a nod and a smile and looks in towards the brilliance of the stage show and this entire situation that had just unfolded before you. Please, everybody take a seat. We are halfway through. Let us not have any more displays. Everything is wheeled out, and unceremoniously, Lincoln looks down towards you, gives a nod, and says, "The green room is that way. Please take a left, and just await there. Payment will be discerned 3 weeks, blah, yada, yada, etc." I'm sure you understand the protocols.
Of course. Do you need me to clean up?
He looks down towards the stage, back towards the people. We will take a brief intercession while we clean the stage for the next showings. People begin to stand and move in towards the entrance and says, "You're the talent. You don't need to clean up." And then you are ushered into the back green room, where you are to await payment. Or you are to await proof of payment, basically. Leaning back, you all take in the auction and the strange happenings of what had currently transpired around you in this long 2 weeks. And as it all begins to wind down, the anticipation just erases and moves out anger and frustration and aggression, and this feeling of growth, this new situation that unfolds around you. And the new people you've pissed off and the friends you've made along the way.
Hey man, I didn't piss any new people off.
Congratulations to all of you for a fantastic show and auction. And that is we will end today's session. Matilda, what were you saying?
We're so fucking smart, Killian.
On that fist bump, the camera pulls away. And thank you all for watching. Until next time at the Dragonleaf. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.